Okay, look, if you're sitting in the C-suite of a major general contractor right now, or if you're the one dispatching fleets across the border, you need to treat this explainer as your commercial survival guide. We are actively navigating what is basically an apocalyptic Ontario-Michigan trash war, and it's being defined by crushing tariffs and completely vanishing landfill space. So today we're breaking down exactly how the 905 Wood digital refinery uses edge compute AI to not just survive this massive trade collision, but to ruthlessly profit from it. Let's get right into it.
We have to immediately hit on the absurd vulnerability at the very center of this crisis. Every single year, literally, 3.46 million tons of our commercial municipal solid waste just rolls straight down the I-75 and into Michigan landfills. To put that absurdity into perspective, Ontario's export pipe is swallowing a staggering 14.35% of all the landfill space in the entire state of Michigan. It's a high-velocity operation, sure, but it is about to hit a brick wall.
To really understand how we got here, we need to map out this literal geopolitical thriller. The friction started heating up during the April 2025 election, with the Carney administration facing down massive tariff threats coming from Washington. Then, boom, January 2026 hits. The blue box collapse forces all this commercial cardboard and paper right out of municipal recycling and dumps it straight into private waste flows. Fast forward to July 2026, the temporary Section 122 surcharge lapses, and suddenly we are staring directly at a ticking clock. August 19, 2026, the Section 338 tariff cliff triggers a massive 50% duty wall on finished wood and paper, and that comes accompanied by a punishing 40% de minimis transshipment penalty. And waiting for us on the domestic front, the year 2034, which is when Ontario faces total, complete landfill exhaustion.
So you're probably wondering, why does this pipeline even exist in the first place? Well, it's sustained by sheer arbitrage absurdity. The absolute floor for tipping fees in the Greater Toronto Area is a punishing $189.86 Canadian per ton. Compare that to the Michigan Accept side, which has historically been sitting at just 36 cents US per ton. There's just no comparison. Even with Michigan Governor Whitmer's proposed aggressive $5 per ton hike, the U.S. Commerce Clause legally prevents them from just shutting out international commerce, so that keeps this pipe wide open. But those incoming U.S. tariffs, they will slam the pipe shut overnight.
And while the U.S. border is closing with tariffs, Ontario is severely tightening its own regulatory screw. Under Premier Doug Ford's government, Ontario Regulation 347 applies this incredibly strict, toxic regulatory pincer known as the derived from rule. It's a system where you are literally guilty until proven clean. Any waste stream is legally presumed hazardous until the generator can forensically prove otherwise. That creates a massive, truly terrifying liability for unverified contaminants.
And this brilliantly illustrates what they call the arsenic trap. To actually prove a load is clean, it has to pass the toxicity characteristic leaching procedure, or TCLP. We are talking razor-thin thresholds here. Arsenic has to be below 2.5 milligrams per liter, while lead and chromium must sit below 5.0. The big problem? Human classification fatigue. You've got an overworked human looking at a massive dumpster, and they let a single piece of weathered gray pine slip through, totally unaware it's hiding chromated copper arsenic treatment. Boom, the entire load trips the thresholds. Your fleet faces hazardous waste seizures, massive fines, and a total border ban.
Which brings us to part 1, the Sentient Bridge and the Layer 1 AI Compliance Gate.
This is where we stop blindly hauling trash and start actually managing verified assets. The 905 Wood digital refinery introduces the Sentient Bridge. It connects chaotic construction waste directly to the ultra-pure requirements of the global biocarbon market. Look at this exact high-contrast industrial tech stack. They are deploying a Google Pixel 11 Pro running Android 17. That phone utilizes the Tensor G6 chip with turbo quant compression to run the Light RT AI stack entirely natively. Forget basic, rudimentary models. This runs a frontier multi-model pipeline featuring Gemini 3.5 Flash for rapid visual sorting and Claude Sonnet 4.6 for audio reasoning on loud, chaotic job sites. Think about that. A consumer phone completely replacing an $80,000 a year human classifier. It runs 24/7, it does not fatigue, it does not miss the arsenic.
So, here is the really provocative question for the C-suite. How exactly does a consumer Pixel 11 phone deployed out on a dusty demolition site beat a 50% U.S. tariff wall and a $60 provincial waste levy? Well, let's tee up the operational workflow that actively generates what 905 Wood calls explainable compliance.
We've basically condensed their massive branching logic into these core visual steps moving right through the triage and verification gate. It is a blazing fast 2-second multimodal intake engine. Step 1, you get high contrast frame capture right from the driver. Step 2, on-device inference kicks in, where Gemini 3.6 Pro and Claude Opus 4.8 cross-reference each other for a consensus check. Now, if it hits an uncertainty band, Step 3 triggers the density engineering engine for physical spectroscopic validation. Step 4 then adjudicates that data directly against those strict TCLP limits we talked about. If it's clean, Step 5 has the drivers simply hold a button, sealing the data with cryptographic hashing. Finally, Step 6 locks that tamper-evident data directly into a forensic ledger via AlloDB. 2 seconds. That is all it takes to intercept a toxic load before it ever gets onto the highway.
The absolutely crucial point here is that this isn't just a neat AI trick. It's a legally defensible shield. This is explainable compliance. They use Google Gemini Vertex AI pipelines for orchestration and dump the data into a PIDA-compliant AlloyDB hosted right in Montreal. They literally run GPT OSS 120B over the raw, unedited text of OREG 347. This means every single routing decision outputs a court-admissible rationale citing specific generator codes. This effectively mitigates failure risks and maximizes rewards through highly targeted Ontario transportation insurance optimization. It's incredibly smart.
All right, part 2, tech to loonies, decoupled billing and margin expansion.
Let's translate this edge compute AI directly into local Ontario profits. Just look at the brutal math of the Ontario Circle levy. Unverified, mixed waste gets slapped with a massive $60 per ton penalty, but AI-verified, clean dimensional wood, it only faces a $5 per ton levy. By shorting the landfill on a single 144-yard, 19.15 net ton mothership trailer, this tech creates an immediate $1,053.23 in Circle levy avoidance. It's margin expansion hidden in plain sight.
And the best part is, they make this entirely transparent to the client through decoupled billing, which is integrated right into their request for quote automation. Instead of getting a flat fee black box, the general contractor, acting under a producer-operator profile, gets a beautifully clean 7-line invoice. It breaks down base logistics, the net weight, and that massive $5 per ton CRICL savings is passed right back to the client. Throw in a diversion pass, the carrier dispatch fee, and the index fuel surcharge, and you arrive at line 7, the retained carbon dividend. By retaining that carbon dividend at a 100% margin, 905 Wood fully funds the capital cost of the Layer 1 AI hardware, saving the general contractor serious, tangible cash right up front.
Moving on to Part 3, Harvesting Carbon Gold, Pyrogenic Biocarbon Dividends.
This is where we move from basic logistics into the macroeconomics of the global premium biocarbon market. Because when that diverted clean wood is routed over to the Char Technologies Thorold Biohub for high-temperature pyrolysis, the math becomes incredibly predictable. Every single 19.15-ton mothership trailer yields exactly 14.36 tons of CO2 equivalent in the form of stable, high-value pyrogenic biocarbon.
So let's walk through the Canadian financial calculation of those carbon removal certificates, or CORCs, at the standard voluntary market book value, indexing at $135 USD. A single load generates $2,721 Canadian. But actually, when it's scientifically validated for the premium Puro.Earth registry, what they call the MRV Spot High tier, a single load secures up to $7,660 CAD. When you scale that up to a fleet routing 200 loads a week, that dividend scales from $28.3 million up to nearly $80 million annually.
Now, we want to maintain sharp, authoritative transparency here. The system currently does face a technical fine-tuning blockage, specifically a red overdue QLoRa Stage 3 failure in model training. This bottleneck currently restricts the full spot premium unlocking against the 590-plus human-in-the-loop decision corpus. So, until that Stage 3 task officially ships, the platform legally and conservatively defaults to the book value pricing of $2,721 per load. Honestly, it's a calculated, highly defensible baseline while they resolve the fine-tuning.
And all of this culminates in the ultimate executive output, presented in a high-contrast industrial UI using stark black, white, and safety orange. It's a fully cryptographically signed compliance package. This includes a 9-point USMCA Shield Certificate of Origin. This part is absolutely vital. It avoids the 35% U.S. tariffs tied to HS Code 3825.10 by classifying the wood safely as HS Code 3825, proving beyond a doubt it was wholly obtained in Canada. Your producer profile receives a verification PDF and a compliance PDF completely locked down with QR codes, exact GPS coordinates, and cryptographic hashing. It even dynamically pulls in electronic OREG 347 manifests pinging the RPRA API. It's the whole shebang.
So as you can see, the 2026 trade collision isn't just some theoretical white paper. It is actively remapping cross-border logistics as we speak. On August 19th, when those Section 338 duties trigger, will your margins smash into a 50% U.S. tariff wall, or will you walk right over the Sentient Bridge? Because in this waste war, 905 Wood's digital refinery isn't just a luxury upgrade. It is absolutely your only mandatory survival tool. Thanks for joining us for this overview explainer, and we will catch you on the next one.